Forget everything you thought you knew about waiting. Forget the old rules, the timelines, and the longing. A silent, seismic shift has already happened, and the very air you breathe is vibrating with a new frequency. The long, heavy era of separation is over. Can you feel it? That old, anxious energy is dissolving, and in its place, something powerful, calm, and sovereign is rising. This is the final stage. But the leadership this time isn't coming from a charge, a chase, or a battle. It's coming from a profound, magnetic stillness. The divine feminine is no longer asking for clarity, she has become the clarity. She is no longer waiting for the path, she is creating it. But how do you know this shift is real? How do you know it's happening in you? There are 6 undeniable signs that the old paradigm has collapsed, and that the divine feminine is now leading the way. The first sign is the one that changes everything. 1. The disappearance of waiting energy. There comes a pivotal moment in the spiritual journey when the very air you breathe changes. It's the silent, profound disappearance of waiting energy. For so long, the energetic posture was one of leaning forward, one foot in the present and one foot perpetually in the future. When life felt paused, oriented entirely around an external connection, a movement that would signal your own life could finally begin. This new, final stage is marked by the feminine taking a sacred step back, reclaiming her center, and turning her gaze away from the horizon and inward toward her own soul. The wait is not just over, the entire concept of waiting has become foreign. This massive reservoir of liberated energy, once spent on longing and analysis, is now reclaimed and redirected into the most sacred vessel, herself. Her primary focus, her thoughts, and her creative life force are poured into her own divine purpose. She stops energetically tending his garden and begins to build her own empire of light. Her joy, her mission, her art, her well-being, these become her guiding stars. She is no longer a supporting character waiting for her cue in someone else's story. She has finally, fully claimed her role as the lead in her own divine epic. The most immediate symptom of this shift is the arrival of a deep, unshakable peace. The frantic need to know, to check the phone, to analyze social media, or to hunt for signs simply dissolves. His actions, his silence, or his choices are no longer the thermostat for her emotional well-being. Her emotional state becomes sovereign, anchored in her own connection to the divine, not in the shifting tides of an external person. This detachment isn't coldness, it is the highest frequency of freedom, a signal to the universe that her worth and peace are no longer up for negotiation. This is the arrival at genuine fulfillment. It is not a strategy to make him come back. It is an authentic state of grace. She has done the work and has truly found happiness, peace, and wholeness by herself. She has become the one she was waiting for. Her life is full, rich, and complete, by her own hand and in partnership with her own spirit. From this powerful, embodied state, the connection is seen in its true light, no longer the source of her wholeness, but a potential, beautiful addition to an already complete and magnificent life. This is the shift from seeking to being, and it is this energy that leads the way. 2. Emotional sovereignty and energetic detachment. The most profound mark of the feminine's final stage of leadership is the arrival of true emotional sovereignty. Her peace is no longer a fragile goal she must meditate for hours to find, it has become her permanent, non-negotiable reality. It is the very ground she walks on. This isn't a peace that demands the world be quiet, but a peace that remains steady within her, regardless of the chaos without. She has anchored her emotional state so deeply into her own divine essence that external events no longer have the power to uproot her. Her stability is now sourced from within, unshakable and sovereign. This sovereignty is most evident in how her triggers simply dissolve. The very things that once would have sent her spiraling for days, his silence, a painful memory, or even seeing him with another, are now met with a calm, neutral observation. She may acknowledge a fleeting feeling, a whisper of the old wound, but it no longer destabilizes her. It no longer tells her a story about her worth. She has learned to witness her emotions without becoming them, understanding they are just energy passing through, not a verdict on her reality. This neutrality is her power, proving she has healed at the root. With this, she masters the art of holding compassion from a distance. The urge to fix, or rescue, him, which was once an anxious compulsion, is replaced by a profound respect for his own sacred journey. She sees his struggles, his patterns, and his lessons as his and his alone, no longer interpreting them as a rejection of her or a reflection of her failure. She can send him love in her heart without enmeshing in his drama, honoring his free will to find his own way. This divine detachment is the ultimate act of unconditional love. This is all possible because she has finally, fully reclaimed her energy. She is no longer unconsciously courting him, sending healing light and meditation, or trying to energetically manage his emotions. She has called all of her power, focus, and life force back to herself. Her energy is now 100% her own, used to fuel her purpose and fill her own cup. This complete energetic detachment, this act of filling her own vessel to overflowing, is what makes her presence intensely magnetic. She is no longer a flickering flame seeking another, she is a self-contained star, and her light becomes impossible to ignore. 3. The cessation of forced or reactive action. A profound evolution occurs when the divine feminine steps into her leadership. She ceases all forced and reactive action. The part of her that once felt compelled to do something, to manage, to fix, to explain, has gone silent. The impulse to send the check-in text, to write a long letter pouring out her feelings, or to, accidentally, orchestrate a meeting simply dissolves. She has graduated from the illusion that her effort is what holds the connection together. She now understands a deeper, universal law: any action born from a frequency of lack will only create more of that lack. She has learned to distinguish between two kinds of action, anxious and inspired. Anxious action feels heavy, strategic, and urgent. It is the ego's attempt to control the 3D and force an outcome. It is rooted in the fear that if she does nothing, she will be forgotten or abandoned. Inspired action, however, feels entirely different. It is a sudden, peaceful urge from the soul. It feels light, joyful, and has no attachment to the outcome. It's a "why not?" rather than a "what if?" She now patiently lets the heavy, anxious impulses pass by like clouds, refusing to give them her energy, waiting only for the clear, calm whisper of inspired flow. In place of force, she masters the divine power of stillness. Her non-action is not passive, it is the most potent action she can take. She understands that her stable, grounded peace is the very frequency that moves mountains, in the unseen realm. Her stillness is a declaration of profound faith. It is her holding the vibration of her desired reality now, without needing the 3D world to prove it to her first. This unwavering, centered energy is what dissolves old, dense timelines and commands new, higher vibrational ones to align with her. She is no longer trying to push the river, she has become the calm, powerful current. This is the essence of her new leadership. She leads not by what she does, but by who she is. She has stopped trying to manipulate the physical world and has instead become the anchor for a divine one. Her trust is her power. Her peace is her strategy. Her embodiment is her most powerful message. She knows that by simply being in her sovereign, peaceful state, she is sending the clearest possible signal to the universe and to her counterpart. She doesn't need to chase, explain, or prove her worth, because her very stillness is the gravitational force that calls everything she is aligned with home to her. 4. Anchoring the landing strip in the physical world. The journey of divine love begins in the ether, but it was never meant to stay there. The final stage of the feminine's leadership is the sacred work of anchoring. She understands that union is not just a 5D concept, a connection of souls and dreams and meditation, but a 3D reality that must have a strong, stable vessel to land in. A high vibrational love cannot be sustained in a low vibrational, chaotic life, it would simply short circuit. And so, guided by her soul, she begins the most practical and holy work of all, building the landing strip, for love to safely touch down on earth. This spiritual calling manifests as a powerful, practical urge to get her own house in order. She is no longer concerned with his life, she is wholly focused on her own. This manifests as a craving for grounded stability. She finds herself focusing on her physical health, stabilizing her finances, pouring energy into her career, and organizing her living space. This is not a distraction from the spiritual path, it is the path. Each bill paid with intention, each healthy meal prepared with love, is an act of declaring to the universe, I am a stable and worthy anchor for divine abundance and love. Simultaneously, she is called to create a sacred space, both externally and internally. She actively declutters her home, but also her life. This is a profound energetic clearing. She lets go of old clothes, old letters, old friendships, and old patterns that vibrate at the frequency of her past self, the one who waited, doubted, and felt incomplete. She is, quite literally, building a peaceful, union-ready, physical environment. Her home becomes a temple, a sanctuary, and this clear, high-vibrational space creates an energetic vacuum that can only be filled by what matches it. Finally, and most importantly, she honors her body as the ultimate sacred vessel. This has nothing to do with vanity, and everything to do with preparation. She intuitively knows her body is being upgraded to anchor the high-frequency codes of union. She is guided to rest, to hydrate, to connect with nature, and to nourish herself. She understands that her nervous system must be strong enough to hold the voltage of this divine connection without burning out. By consecrating her 3D life, her body, her home, her finances, she is not just preparing for union, she is leading it out of the unseen and into the living, breathing, physical world. 5. She becomes the oracle, not the seeker. A pivotal transformation in the feminine's leadership is the moment she graduates from seeker to oracle. For so long, her spiritual practice was defined by looking outward. She sought answers from friends, from healers, from the stars, and from the cards. She was outsourcing her own divine power, hoping an external source would grant her the permission and clarity she craved. But in this final stage, she turns 180 degrees. She pulls all of her energy back from the external world and anchors it in her own heart, realizing that the only voice that ever mattered was her own. The frantic search for answers ceases, not because the questions were answered, but because she has become the answer. This is why the old tools of external validation simply fall away. The feminine who leads from within loses all interest in pulling tarot cards about the connection, not because the tools lack power, but because she no longer has the question. The obsessive hunt for angel numbers or proof from the universe stops. She no longer needs the universe to wink at her to confirm she's on the right path. She has graduated from needing a mirror to reflect her own divinity back to her. She simply knows. She is no longer trying to decode reality, she is defining it from her own healed frequency. She stops looking for signs because she has become the sign. This is the ultimate embodiment. Her own inner peace is the sign that all is well. Her sustained joy is the confirmation that the timeline is aligned. Her unwavering faith is the proof that love is real. She understands that the universe isn't just sending her signals. The universe is now responding to her signal. Her calm, steady, high-vibrational energy is the lighthouse, and she knows that anything that is truly hers will navigate its way to her light. She doesn't need to see it to believe it. This is her full, unadulterated spiritual authority. That quiet knowing, in her heart, once a timid whisper she constantly second-guessed, has become the loudest and most absolute voice in her reality. She trusts her intuition as divine, final, and non-negotiable. It overrides all external fear, all societal programming, and all lingering doubts. Her inner voice is her sacred compass, her map, and her destination. By trusting it with absolute faith, she has stepped into her power as the oracle, the leader, and the architect of her new reality. 6. Her frequency defines the reality. In the final stage of her embodiment, the divine feminine grasps the ultimate spiritual truth. Her energy does not just influence the connection, it creates it. She fully awakens to her power as the prime mover, the conscious generator of her reality. She understands that the 3D world she experiences is not a fixed, external set of circumstances she must react to, but a fluid mirror reflecting her own internal state. Her frequency is the cause, the physical world is the effect. She stops waiting for reality to change and takes her power back by understanding that she is the one who changes it, from the inside out. With this knowledge, she steps into her role as the mapmaker. She recognizes that her sustained vibration is the literal blueprint that the universe, and by extension the masculine, must follow. She is no longer following his lead, his pace, or his timeline. She is the timeline. By holding the frequency of peace, wholeness, and unconditional love now, regardless of external appearances, she is anchoring the energetic coordinates of the destination. She becomes a steady lighthouse, and physical reality, like a ship, has no choice but to navigate toward her unwavering light. This is not a passive state but an act of conscious mastery. She now practices conscious frequency holding. When she feels herself dipping into the old energies of fear, doubt, or impatience, she does not panic or judge herself. She no longer spirals. Instead, she simply acknowledges the feeling with compassion, nurtures that part of herself, and then consciously chooses to return to her center, to peace, faith, and radical self-love. This conscious return, over and over, is her sacred work. It is the muscle she strengthens, proving her mastery over her own energetic field. As a result, her entire external world begins to reflect her inner wholeness. The 3D mirror must show her what she is. This isn't just about him. Synchronicities multiply, communication from everyone becomes clearer and more loving, and new opportunities for abundance and joy flow to her from all directions. Her light begins to attract a reality that matches it. The masculine's homecoming is then seen for what it truly is, not the prize she was chasing, but simply the final, natural piece clicking into the beautiful, whole, and aligned reality she has already created for herself. And so, the shift is confirmed. If these 6 signs are echoing in your heart, know that this isn't just something you're watching, it's something you are becoming. The leadership of the divine feminine isn't a future event, it is the energy you are embodying, right here, right now. Your stillness is moving mountains. Your peace is your power. And your frequency is the map that is guiding everything home. We are all in this beautiful, powerful shift together. To affirm this, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 6 signs is resonating the most powerfully with you in your life right now? Is it the disappearance of that old waiting energy? Or perhaps the new, unshakable feeling of emotional sovereignty? Let us know below so we can witness and celebrate this collective rising. If this message affirmed your journey, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more messages on this path of embodiment. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a transmission. Remember, you are no longer waiting for the sign. You are the sign. Lead the way.